This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
And I'm Christina.
And I'm here to sell you a brand new car. That's what this came in like, right?
I didn't even know we had started. Like, I just put my headphones on and I was like, is she joking? Like, what's going on right now? I was so blindsided. Okay. Listen.
Okay.
Everyone.
All right.
Okay.
I made a status on my Instagram stories yesterday talking about NFTs and how I don't know what they are.
I do.
And I don't care. Like, it's not an invitation for anyone to try and explain them to me.
Great.
Please, God, if I die without ever knowing what an NFT actually is, I will die happy.
Okay.
But someone messaged me because of that with this story.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay. So this had been sent to me before because people just like to get under my skin and they know that farting talk.
Oh God! So we have NFTs and farts
in the same story.
Okay.
In the same story. So there is this reality star named Stephanie Matto, and she was on 90 Day Fiance.
Okay.
And she has made something like $200,000. Selling
her farts.
Her farts.
And went to the hospital.
Yeah, she had to stop because she was eating too many like farty food.
She was rushed to the hospital with severe chest pain caused by excessive farting.
Listen, we have to talk about this. I'm so glad you brought it up. The commitment level.
The commitment.
Right,
because I feel like you probably wouldn't.
You don't really have to, probably.
No.
You could just have still a jar and be like,
If I was one of her customers, I would actually.
That's
I would be like,
I appreciate the dedication.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, she really was farting in those jars.
that's where my head went immediately. I was like, oh wait, this bitch really is. You don't. I don't think you have
to be honest. Also, you could also outsource. You know what I mean? Like, if you want some real scent in there, like, you got friends, just cut them in on a bit of the profits. Like, you don't have to do it all yourself. You know,
dude.
like, they don't know.
Yeah. Just, I told Chris this. I was like, wait a second. I was like, I said the same thing to him. And Chris is like, well, maybe she has to video it. And I was like, you think all of her people have seen the same video? Like, I mean, how many videos do you actually have to take?
Make 5 videos.
Exactly. Recycle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Come on. Smart business.
Come on.
You work smarter, not harder.
You need a manager, and I'm in.
I see stories like that at times, and I just think to myself, like, I'm so fucking stupid. Like, why?
Yes.
Why was I not doing this shit when I was hot in my
Prime
20s?
fart.
I mean,
prime fart.
Honestly, like, how do your feet look?
Oh, they're jacked to fuck, man. I can't do shit with my foot. I got that hair on my big toes.
You can shave that shit
Shave
off.
that shit, girl.
Shave it.
You could sell that video, I bet.
Oh, you definitely.
Yeah.
That's definitely
Get yourself
somebody's
some
thing.
nice cream down there.
Bunions.
Ooh.
I think I still have nail polish on my big toe from a pedicure like 8 months ago.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, full
thrown
save.
out.
No, I still have nail polish on my toes from my wedding. So
I think that's when I have mine from.
yeah, it's just fully grown out. It's like half and half now.
and half.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, so I'm not making any money as a foot model.
No, they're all dry.
But there's
and
a
cracked.
million ways. There's a million ways to make money. I'm on TikTok all the time seeing women talk about how they're like, yeah, I just called a man an idiot for 20 minutes and he Venmo'd me $20,000. You're like, where
could you
can I
imagine
this fucking opportunity?
How good?
Who is hiring?
How good would I be at the job?
Yeah. Oh God, you're just sitting there like filing your nails.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Saying the most insulting shit.
Are you fucking even? How dare you even look at me?
Exactly. Listeners, you got to start sending us these like websites,
Yeah.
you know, stuff that we can get on and excel at.
Yeah.
But Stephanie jumped on that NFT bandwagon when she had to retire from the farting in a jar.
The fart game.
Yeah.
And she is now selling photos of her fart jars as NFTs. Online.
Amazing.
And crushing it, apparently making pretty good money. So
Yeah.
I wow.
Do we need to make an NFT? Is that what?
Listen, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Like, I
How
just
about
don't want to
crypto?
know. Oh my God. Like
You can buy our NFT.
these
with
are
special.
like these words are triggering me in the worst way. Like it's just you just crypto NFT like Joe Rogan, and I'm like,
Elon Musk.
It's a hustle. I'm not. I've learned a lot of things in my life. I've learned what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy. Learning about mining crypto and stuff like that is just not going to be my
eyes
jam.
glaze over
Immediately,
and it just goes to like monkeys playing cymbals in my head. Like I cannot focus.
You just triggered a memory of me and my old eye doctors
had re-triggered.
I had to go to like a child eye doctor when I was a kid. Going back this week as an adult is going to be fun. He had one of those monkey
bang, bang,
symbol
bang.
things.
Those terrifying
And it was
circus monkeys.
So scary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Their
Scared the
eyes. Why are their
shit out
eyes
of
like
me.
that?
Listen, it's the same reason I think that Wizard of Oz is terrifying as well. Like, come on, flying monkeys?
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
That shit is scary. Half the movie is in black and white and half of it is in color. I'm so confused. As a kid, this is awful. I hate it. And I grew up in a tornado area.
You're like, none of this is fun for me.
I don't like this.
This is traumatic.
I'm going to be torn away from my fucking family and have to find them with the help of like a bunch of
Monsters.
Mr. Toys.
And straight up commit like accidental manslaughter.
No, for some shit. And I steal her shoes. It's awful. Prove me wrong.
We're just saying.
Well, don't though, because I know that there's plenty of people who love it, but it's not my jam. Speaking of my jam though, we know that cats are my jam.
Yep.
And we know that I love a good group on Facebook. I pretty much barely am ever on Facebook, but when I am, it's to check in on the couple select groups of Facebook groups that I just keep me happy, put a smile on my face.
There you go.
One of those is specifically a cat group, of course, and I found this little gem in there because someone was like, basically like, I'm fucking done with dating.
Oh.
This is a conversation had between her and said suitor on Tinder.
Oh no.
It starts out from him. No kids and into estate sales. Don't smoke. You better be careful. You are a rare one. He says.
What?
She says, haha. I've been told that I'm a rare breed. I do see on your profile that you are allergic to cats. I don't have any currently, but my cat died in September and haven't brought myself to getting another one yet. He says, so what's that mean? We can date until you get another cat, then I'm kicked out onto the street, is what you're saying? And my response would be like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, actually,
yes.
With that comment, we won't even start dating. Already, I can tell.
Yeah.
I don't like your attitude.
I don't like your flag that you just threw up. I don't like this flag on the play. She says, I'm just being upfront that I enjoy having cats as pets. He says, You have no idea how bad house cats have messed up my life.
Okay.
Whoa. With work and dating. And I can save you from being a crazy cat lady. 1 or 6 cats. It doesn't matter.
Block.
Wow.
Blizzock. Immediately.
How is a house cat ruined his
your life? He has a
life?
personal vendetta against
Oh,
a
my
house
goodness.
cat.
But don't worry, guys. He can save you.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like listen. Whenever I first started dating Anthony, Matilda was like kind of new. I'd always wanted a cat of my own. I grew up with a couple cats. There's a picture of me from show and tell whenever I was like 7 or 8.
I'm already excited.
With my favorite book, and it's a giant cat facts book. I memorized that thing like cover to cover because my dad wouldn't let me have the cat when I was in elementary school. And I've always loved cats.
Yes.
And so Anthony was like, I don't really like cats, which I mean, look at him now. But he was like, I don't really like cats, and like I'm kind of allergic to them because
Kind of allergic.
I'm kind of allergic too, to be honest. Like, I mean, listen, I am. But I was like, listen,
Yeah.
I agreed to take on this cat. This cat is my responsibility now. This cat is my child now.
Yeah.
So we're going to do what we're going to do, and it's going to work out or it's not going to work out, but I'm not getting rid of this cat.
Yeah.
So like, that's just the way that is. Like this, I made a commitment when I got her to take care of her. I'm her mom now. So that is what it is.
And now that you guys live in separate homes but are married, how's that working out
amazing.
for you guys?
We just wave to each other from across the street. And
Could you imagine?
Listen, my cat villain is 21 years old.
yeah.
Oof.
He's literally the longest relationship of my whole life.
Yeah.
That motherfucker has been with me
Longer than your family even.
longer than my family either.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah. You've lived with that cat longer than you've lived with your parents.
yeah. So it's,
And listen,
it's not an option.
I love dogs too. I love animals, just period. Like I love animals. I love having pets. And I absolutely love dogs. And I actually don't think there's anything wrong with saying like, oh, I'm more of a this or that, right? Because different
have a
energies.
preference,
They're totally different energies. I get that. But there's been a lot of discourse lately, like on TikTok and all social media platforms actually, about how like, not if you have a real allergy, but if you're just one of those guys who's like, I don't like cats.
Yeah.
That is a red flag because
Yes.
like cats are so independent and like they want to be loved on like their terms and they demand boundaries and consent. And like if somebody is like, I don't like them because they don't come to me right away or they don't like me. And it's
That
just
says a
like,
lot about you.
That says a lot about you, right?
Wow.
That's a you
I
problem.
didn't think about that.
Yes.
That is actually a really good red flag indicator.
Cats have boundaries.
I agree.
Like I understand they're different than dogs, but
They are.
Part
Yeah.
of that is that like they want to be pet, and then when they don't, and they want you to respect that, and they demand that you respect that. And if that is something that you don't like, well, I'm worried about you.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely. Dude, I will tell you, I grew up in a house, pets my whole life. You guys know this. We've had this conversation where after I lost Abby, it was the first time in my life that I didn't have a pet in my house. Like it was really tough for me. But I grew up in a house. My mom is fully like allergic to cats.
Yeah.
And took like medicine every single day, allergy medicine, so that we could live in a house with cats.
Yeah.
What? So like I have the lowest threshold of bullshit when it comes to people being like, well, I don't like cats because I'm allergic to them. And I'm all like, okay, you can still like cats and be allergic at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
You can also physically like something. I like lions. I don't want to own one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but you don't have to be a dick about it.
I like rhinos.
Yeah.
I think they're cool. I'm not going to I wouldn't want one as a pet.
Okay, so kind of taking a little bit of a turn, but only
Can't wait.
slightly, because when I think about rhinos, I think about hippos. Like that's just my brain makes that
They're
connection.
very dangerous.
Have you seen the video? I think it's on TikTok. The video of this hippopotamus chasing this boat.
No.
It is terrifying.
Oh,
And
I do know what you're talking
then
about.
she has
yes.
an entire like this woman, I wish I could remember her handle. She has an entire like playlist of just like hippo facts, and like she's like, the people in that boat are not scared enough because like what's happening is the hippo is running on the like
Land.
on the floor.
the floor of the
river.
Yeah.
Like
the water,
running.
the floor of the water.
Like that's what they do. They like can, and then they come, and every time you see them come up, they're like coming up for breath, and then they're going back down, and they're running. They're not swimming. Like you think that, but they're like the most deadly animal.
I didn't know that.
They're so
Hippos are like the most deadly
Yes.
animal to humans,
always
and they'll kill you for fun too. Like
I've always wanted to like squeeze
No,
one.
you don't.
because they
Don't.
seem so cute.
They're
Because
not.
when we were kids, they sold us like children's books with like hippos and little ballet skirts. And
Yes.
you're like, oh, look
my
how
God.
cute they are. And it's like, no, like they will murk you for no reason.
Yes.
Like,
Wow.
And they're fast.
Oh my!
They're like all muscle.
They should not be that fast.
No. Isn't that a terrifying image? Like a hippo running underwater.
I'm like on the ground, but
Yeah.
yeah, it is like it's like yes,
On the riverbed or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. The words are like escaping me. Wow. Could you imagine? I've heard that too. I've heard that hippos are one of the most dangerous animals, and they can run so fucking fast on land as well.
And
like,
we think it's so cute when they like unhinge their jaws and like smash an entire watermelon, but it's like, what if that was your head?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. I just saw that TikTok. I think with the watermelon. And I was like, wow,
very scary.
very strong jaw.
This was a real turn. Real turn.
Yeah, nothing to do with dating, but I just thought, quick hippo facts.
Well,
you know?
I will say that the hippo and the ballet thing makes me think of like cartoon.
Oh my god!
characters.
Yeah. What was that character?
I don't know. There was
like a
definitely
whole
one.
like kids book series, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So cute.
And then also like Fantasia, I think, had like the hippos and the ballet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Give me some real childhood vibes here.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should fuck, marry, kill
hippos.
Cartoon character.
Different hippopotamuses. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Different cartoon.
Like things that we grew up, like Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go with this because I saw it on Disney Plus and I was like, oh my gosh, Anthony, have you ever seen Gargoyles?
Oh,
and
God.
he was like, I've never seen Gargoyles.
I've never even heard of it.
Okay, well, we can't do it then because you haven't seen it. But Gargoyles was such a niche like moment in time, and it was like a similar.
I feel like we've talked about this before.
Yeah, it was a similar like animation style to like the old school X-Men and stuff like that. Like that. Kind of like flat,
like Thundercats.
Yeah, it's very
yes,
similar to that. But okay, I'll pick something else. I'll pick something that you know. Let me think about it for a second.
I loved Thundercats.
Yeah.
Growing up. Yeah, I would play that on the schoolyard with my kid friends, and we'd be like, "I'm Chitara," and there were like two girls, so we always had a fight over which one was Chitara and which one was like Kit or Cat, whichever the girl cat was.
Right. I was I was a huge Jem and the Misfits fan.
Oh,
like,
yes,
I loved Jem and the holograms, and I had all the a couple different versions of Jem. I had all the holograms. I had all the Misfits.
Ooh, just say you're rich, girl.
No, I don't know how we got it. I think I had a grandma that loved me, and but yeah, I used to have all the tapes, everything in one of those. Do you remember putting your cassette tapes in those boxes or whatever?
It smells like a Trapper Keeper. It kind of looks like a Trapper Keeper. It's got little slots in it. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
How many millions of dollars am I missing out on now because my mom just was like yeeted it?
Yeah,
when I'm like all those old school 80s toys, somebody would collect them.
Definitely. You could sell that on eBay for a good amount of money now. Okay, I'm gonna go with there was a period of time, and maybe it's also because like I grew up on like PBS cartoons because like I didn't have for much of my childhood.
Don't be Arthur.
I'm not going to go with Arthur. Too wholesome. We can't put Arthur
that's
in
why
there.
I'm like, don't do it.
But I went through, I'm not going to do Magic School Bus either, but like I went through a phase where it was like very much about like educational cartoons. And like there was a time in like the 80s and 90s when they really went out of their way, not just on PBS, but like everywhere to make like messagey like cartoons. So I'm going to go with Captain Planet.
Okay, listen, I thought
Captain Planet.
For 1 second.
Top. That is great.
For 1 second, I thought you were going to go with VeggieTales. Oh my God. You said message. And I was like, oh, here we go.
I do have to say though about VeggieTales.
My son watched it like, all the time.
Loved VeggieTales growing up. Young Christian. Yeah. Loved VeggieTales growing up. And I have to say that the creator of VeggieTales is out there being woke as fuck on Twitter.
Is he?
Like,
right.
Like he made an entire video, one of the better videos I've seen breaking down what systemic racism is.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wow, like, look at you. I'm surprised in a great way.
Yeah.
You know?
You'll love to see it.
You'll love to see it. Okay.
What about the guy that was Heart? What power?
Wait,
love? I don't know.
The power of what?
Heart.
Like,
because it had wind.
Oh, that's right.
Air.
fire, water, heart. And I was like,
oh,
that guy.
Heart. Poor Heart.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is funny because if you kind of like personify these shows, they're very different people.
I feel Jem is businesswoman by day, rock star by night.
Okay.
I
That's
honestly
you.
feel like that's I
You
modeled
watched-
a life out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, you watched Jem and you were like,
Yes.
That's how it's
that's
done.
what's going to happen for me. Yeah, you're like, you made yourself a timeline. You're like, from here to Jem, what needs to happen? Milestone tracker.
Yes.
Yeah.
The most Capricorn way of achieving this goal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here to Jem.
I mean, Captain Planet was one of the first, like, that was before we were really talking about, like, climate change. Like, Captain Planet. So I definitely think that is the socially conscious option.
Yes.
Of these three. Like, that guy recycles, you know?
I have a friend that actually, he works in the film industry, and he and friends put together a live action Captain Planet movie trailer.
Oh.
You can find it on YouTube, and it is priceless.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love that.
I think I know what we're doing during the break.
I know. We're looking it up.
And I think Thundercats is probably a Jem bro, if I'm being honest.
For sure. Yeah. A lot of muscles.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of like protein shakes involved in that relationship.
He enjoys
I think.
working out.
Yeah. Which, nothing wrong with working out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to
shuddering breath.
Oh my God. She was like gasping.
This is hard. That's my childhood. I'm going to marry Captain Planet.
Okay.
I love an activist.
Love it.
He's got a great bod. He is very pale from what I remember.
Sure.
But, so, I don't know if there'll be a lot of beach days in our life.
No, he's definitely slathering on the SPF 100 for sure. He's like, I'm not getting melanoma.
No. But he can fly, which will make for some interesting times. So yeah, no, I'm going with Captain Planet. I gotta fuck Thundercat.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
I was not expecting
Not
this.
expecting that either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen,
I hear you.
I cannot be with Jem. It's too
Can't be
too
with
much.
yourself.
Too real.
I
Too
can't-
real.
It can't be with myself.
It's too real.
I can't even live with myself sometimes, and yet double me is not. It's not a vibe.
It's too much.
It's too much. We
Got
fight
it.
all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm gonna fuck the Thundercat and kill Jem.
Get you some lion-o, huh?
Yeah.
I'm upset. Okay. Okay.
Panthera.
Man, this is a little tricky for me because I thought I was going to do one thing. Nope, I'm going to do it. Okay, so I am going to also marry Captain Planet. I just feel like it's a good vibe. You know, we're going to go on like bike rides and stuff. Like, it's going to be good. You know, we're going to have like a lot of really good salads. And like, I love a salad. Like, I think salads are underrated. Like, I'm like, I think this is going to be like a really chill life.
Why is it that a bought salad always tastes better than the salad you make at home?
Because
bothers
here's the thing.
me.
I make a really good salad at home, but the issue is this is my salad issue. And I was actually thinking about this last night for some reason. It's that there's so much chopping involved. Like, when you're actually making like a salad, like you're spending so much time like chopping everything. And then
You're like, do I really need that in it?
yeah, you're like, oh, how much do I want red onion? Like, I'm gonna be crying by the end of this.
Yeah.
And then like, and I also like to make my own like dressing, which is like so much more, like so much peeling garlic and shit. And then also, if you
We're off the rails.
totally
So far off the rails.
also,
What is
if you don't
happening?
eat it right away, it gets really like mushy in the fridge. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Well,
and
same
then
thing with bot salad.
yeah, but you can get it in a more like
Contained, smaller.
smaller portion. Whereas like, I'm not
Okay.
going to cut half a head of lettuce. I'm going to cut the whole thing. And then it's just like, now you've got like wilting lettuce in your fridge. Anyway, unimportant. I am going to marry Captain Planet. I just feel like our lifestyles are going to mesh well.
Right.
I feel like he'll understand when I come home and I'm just like ranting and raving about something I saw on the news. I feel like he'll get it, but he'll also be able to calm me down. Like I think that it's going to work out. I am going to fuck Jem. I couldn't marry Jem. And I thought about it, but I can't marry Jem because
when is she gonna
she's not
have
going to have any
time?
time for me. Yeah,
She's working. She's performing.
I'm one of the holograms. So.
yeah. I mean, yeah. You'll see her at band practice, but even then, she's never going to care about you as much as she cares about everything else going on in her life. Like I love Jem, but like Jem loves Jem, you know, which is great. But I think a night with Jem, if you can get some free time after her show. Oh, lovely. Amazing. Gonna be really, really, really fun. And then I want to be her friend after that. Like, I want to go to all of her shows. I want her
Backstage
to, like,
passes.
do my hair and let me borrow some mini skirts. Like, I want to hang out with Jem.
Want those synergy earrings?
Yeah. And then Thundercats, no offense at all to Thundercats, like lots of fun. Would also be, fun to hang out with, but they're just they seem like extreme sports, and like
it's intense.
I'm tired. So that's all that is.
Yeah.
There you go.
I thought I had a plan. And I also had a plan. I'm going to stick with it. Fuck it.
Okay.
I'm going to marry Jem.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love it. I just it's a whole thing.
You love a girl on the go.
I'm a girl on the go. I love the life. We're moving, we're shaking.
I actually think if any of us could marry Jem, it would probably be you.
Yeah.
Like I think you'd be the most satisfied in that relationship of the three of us.
Well, because I'm also okay being by myself as well.
Yeah.
So, but like I can in and out, whatever we need. Go with the flow. I kind of want to fuck Thundercats, but that really throws me for a loop because then I have to kill
It's okay.
Planet.
It's all
Captain
right.
Planet, and that feels weird. That doesn't feel good. Choices were made. I'm done.
Yeah, there we go.
So we do have some new patrons.
Hell yeah.
Woo, woo. Love to see it. Welcome, worsties.
Yes. So I want to give a big shout out to Lacey Hopkins for joining us on Patreon, as well as Michelle Dwadi. Thank you for joining us. We are so happy to have you. If you have any FMK suggestions, any Would You Rather suggestions, or just things that you'd like us to talk about, or you just want to reach out and say, hey, please do that. And we will have your rewards to you very, very soon in the mail.
Hey, yeah. Also, if you have some t-shirt ideas that you think would be really cool, like we don't always catch on to our popular phrases, that kind of thing. So if there's something that you're like, holy shit, why is that not a shirt? Please reach out and let us know. We'd love to.
Yep.
Do some more t-shirts and more new stuff for this new year. So yeah, you guys want to take 5 and come back with stories?
Sounds good.
And we're back. All right. I have a listener story this week. I think all of our stories are listener stories this week, which we love to see. Please keep sending your stories in. We love reading them.
I mean, we're not saying that we love that you're going on bad dates, but we love that you're sharing.
Well, and let's be honest.
If you have to go on a bad date, you're sharing that.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen anyway. You might as well just share the love.
Exactly.
Okay? We'll keep you anonymous if you want. All right. It says, hey, worsties, I'm not sure if this counts as a worst date or just a very confusing one that still makes me cringe to this day. The thing is, I didn't realize I was on a date until things got weird. When I was at uni, I love it. When I was at uni, my friend group was made up of 5 guys and 2 girls, including myself. We were pretty close, but like siblings. No one was dating each other. We were just good friends. After uni, most of us moved for work, so unfortunately, the group kind of disappeared. Happens.
Yeah.
A year or 2 later, one of the guys from our group, I'll call him Mark, moved to the same town as me. We hadn't been that close in the group. In fact, I seemed to annoy him. He always said I was too hyper and loud. I was 18 and drunk for most of those 4 years, so yeah, I probably was.
Is this story for me?
Yeah, look, that was all of it. Like
honestly.
Yeah.
But we hadn't talked in years, and he was in a new town. So when he hit me up asking if I wanted to go to the movies, since he had just moved and didn't know anyone, I was like, sure, why not? I've got nothing else going on.
Why would you do that? as a reconnect. You know what I mean?
Well, that's not the place.
She does explain. So she does explain. She said, so we met up and went and saw a film. I should say at uni that we studied film. So it was completely normal for us to go to the cinema a lot. It was nice to catch up. We went and watched the film and then I went home. Standard day out with a friend. I was 23 and still had a weird thing where I got nervous to go to the cinema alone, which, by the way, can I just say, I want to start calling it the cinema. Yeah. I'm going to start calling it the cinema. Instead of being like, you want to go to the movies? I'll be like, do you want to go to the cinema? Doesn't that make you sound more like...
Yes. And watch a film.
Watch a film.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I'm going to the cinema to watch, the new Jackass tonight.
Film. The Jackass film.
Jackass film.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's too big for that.
I still had this weird thing where I got nervous to go to the cinema alone. I guess I was worried about what people thought of me too much. I've gotten over that, possibly thanks to this incident. I love film, so fuck it. I'm going to go see any film I can, alone or not. I love that. I actually like going to movies by myself on occasion. Yeah. It's nice. But at the time, I didn't like to go on my own. So maybe a month after me and Mark had met up, a new film was coming out. I wanted to go see, and none of my other friends wanted to go. So I thought, why not? I'll text my new cinema buddy. Mark was down to go to the film. Great. He suggested we get a drink first. I love films. I also love drinking. So of course.
Sounds good. Sounds like great. Perfect. Yeah.
A friendly catch up and then the cinema. Perfect. So I went to meet Mark at a local pub. We got a couple drinks and chatted about what we'd been up to, just chatting away exactly like you would any friend, man or woman, gay or straight. I even told him about this hot guy I was flirting with at work earlier in the day and how I wish I'd given him my number. So we finish our drinks and go to the movie. It was fine, nothing weird, just two friends who enjoy films. The movie ends and I walk home and I go to walk home. That's when things got odd. Last time we just said bye and split up. This time he says, oh, I'm going that way anyway. I'll walk you. Okay, sure. So we walk and talk. We pass a few pubs on the way and Mark is insistent that he wants another drink. I'm kind of tired, but as I say, I do love a drink. So why not? One more drink. So we drop into another pub, have another drink. Once I finish, I'm pretty insistent that I want to get home. He seems a little disappointed, but I only set out to go out tonight, not out. So we leave.
Understand.
There's a difference.
Full understand.
There's a difference, right? Yeah. You're like, I had X number of hours allotted to this. Okay. Yes. Now I need to sleep. Mm-hmm. So we leave and continue walking home. That's when he kicks it up a notch. I point out the street that he should take to get to his place, and he shrugs it off and says, oh no, I'm going another way. Okay, that's weird, I think. Then he starts heavy-handed complimenting me a lot. Mark, you're so fun to be around. I've had a great time. Me, a bit awkward. Haha. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was good to catch up. Then he grabs my arm to stop me from walking and turns to face me. We've had no physical contact at all, so this is weird. You have the most beautiful eyes. They're so interesting and different. Now, I'm not one to toot my own horn, but toot toot, I do have unusual eyes, and I think they're pretty, so thanks. But this was weird. Physically stopping me to stare at them is making me feel trapped and anxious. I laugh awkwardly and say, thank you, people do say that, and try to keep walking. He follows, continually trying to stop me and slow me down, still telling me how beautiful I am, how good my top looks, how cool he thinks I am, and asking if he can come up to mine for a drink since he bought the last round and he doesn't want to go home.
No.
Nope.
Okay, now I feel freaked out. He is making me feel awkward, like I owe him something. I just want him to leave me alone at this point. But this is my friend, so I don't want to be horrible to him and I make up excuses. Oh no, I need to get some work done and get to bed. Sorry.
This is when I make up fake roommates.
Yeah,
you know
what
I
mean? Yeah, or somebody else is coming by, or like something. But the thing about this that's so annoying is that like if you want something, just say it. Like, just why is there all this like ambiguity?
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, it's so weird to just hint at something for like, just kind of like picking. Eventually, I got to my flat and said goodbye. He asked again if he could come up for a drink. No. So I went in and closed the door behind me and he left. I won't lie. I was pretty upset. I don't know why, but I felt blindsided and hurt that he didn't value me as a friend. That's another thing. Yeah. It's like when you think like somebody is your friend and then you you realize like, oh no,
there
like,
it is.
People all the time talk about being friend zoned. Like guys, a lot of times will talk about being friend zoned. And a woman made a tweet about how like, you think that's hard? Like, how do you feel if you're fuck zoned?
Yes.
Like, where like somebody only wants to be around you because they think that there's a possibility of getting in your pants.
Damn, that is, woo, that hits.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yikes.
About 20 minutes later, I got a text from him. I think there was some misunderstanding tonight. I don't want it to be weird. Being a naive 23-year-old, I didn't want to hurt his feelings or lose a friend, so I replied saying, sorry if it felt weird. I enjoyed the film. Hope you got home okay. Then I got a very curt, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
23 for you. And that was the last I ever heard from Mark. About a year after that, I was meeting up with one of the other guys from the group to catch up and mentioned in passing that I think I went on an accidental date with Mark. And he said, yeah, I heard, but wouldn't tell me anymore. So I have no idea if Mark is out there telling a similar tale about a dumb girl who didn't know she was on a date. But I hope he has a shame receipt for it because that was the most cringy experience of my life.
Ew.
How can he think it was a date? I literally talked about other men I fancied. Anyway, now it just
So
makes me
weird.
laugh. I've learned my lessons and am much, much more confident, thankfully. I haven't had any accidental dates since. All the best. Yeah. I mean, like I just think that date is so relatable because I feel like I've definitely been in a situation like that where you think it's one thing. And as somebody who grew up with a lot of guy friends.
Yeah, same.
Who like I've reconnected with when I've gone home and stuff like that. You don't assume that like it's anything other than just like two friends hanging out, especially if you're doing stuff that you used to do together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Just
Well,
uncomfy.
Fucking hate that. All right. So I also got a story from our inbox and it starts out, this one has a title, and it is called The Hot Douche.
Oh, gosh.
I matched with El Douche on Hinge.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do people actually
La Douche?
Oh.
I don't think so.
I've never
Never.
done that.
No.
No.
Have you?
Never. Never in my life.
Yeah.
Huh.
Self-cleaning oven.
Right.
So here's my other question. Are you think people are using them for like butts?
I mean, yeah. Yes. Yeah, I do. The way you said that was so innocent.
I think
Christina, I've never seen you. Yes, though. Yes.
Listen, I'm trying. I bought a toy and I might be trying, and I'm like, I'm worried about some stuff, so I'm thinking that maybe the douche is what will.
I think that
because that is not a self cleaning oven.
No, I know
that one. You
I
really
do
have
know.
to get in with some elbow grease.
I do know that people. You got to get that Fabuloso up in there. Yeah.
You know what though? Like, I feel like you're asking for diarrhea because basically you're giving yourself a fucking enema is what you're doing.
Is that?
Yes, that's what an enema is. It's a like,
And
yes,
douche
it's like
is an enema
for your vag hole, but an enema is basically water flushed up into your tuchus so you can shit.
Okay.
So you're giving just so you know
Okay.
that that's what you're doing. As long as you're prepared to shit your fat pants off.
Your fans.
Your pants. And I don't know where it turned into fat pants. I don't understand what I'm saying.
My God.
But yes, I do know that people.
I'm
douche
worried about
that area.
things on the walls.
What?
You know what I mean?
No.
Yes, the booty walls.
The booty walls.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't have to poop right now, but what if like the poop I had hours ago still has
time out.
stuff in there?
Have you not had anal sex yet?
I have. I've had it twice. Once, great. Second time,
Not as great.
brown condom.
Okay. Well, okay. So here's what I'll say for ass play.
Okay.
I think you have to, like, if it's a toy you're ass playing with,
Yes.
like if for a little DP action, you have to start smaller and work your way up.
Yes, I have levels. I bought 3.
So smallest first.
Yeah.
And a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Work your way toward it.
Yeah.
Right? And as long as you go slow and low and use lubrication, you should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. But make
Okay.
sure you use lubrication. And just,
Well,
you do not have to douche your asshole.
I clean
No, for
person,
sure.
and I like.
Oh
to-
my God, you and Chris, super clean people.
Yes.
I know. You shouldn't have, like, first of all, just knowing douching your ass is an enema.
Okay.
Okay. So like, don't do that unless you know you're like, you want to shit You're like you are going to shit if you do that.
Okay.
Like, and a lot, and probably not going to be able to do any ass play that night.
Oh.
Because it's an enema. You're getting yourself a fucking enema.
Okay.
So firstly,
the more you know.
the more you know. But second of all, just as long, like on a normal day, sexy times day,
right?
If you shit that day, you're fine.
Okay.
As long as you don't feel like you got to shit, you didn't drink a bunch of dairy or something, you're allergic to dairy, you should be fine.
This listener did not sign up for this.
Well,
when they wrote in,
listen.
they did not sign up for this turn
douche.
this conversation has taken. I'm just saying. Yeah. But, I mean, definitely the more you know rainbow for sure. Because, there you go.
It can be fun.
You should have your own show, Cassie.
Just about ass play. You'd think I'd do more of it. But I mean, just in my experiences.
Alrighty.
Cool anyway, my story. The hot douche. I matched with El Douche on Hinge. He was super hot, and yes, I was in awe. We chatted on the app and the phone and decided to go on a date. At first, he suggested we go out to eat, but those plans quickly changed. Apparently, he is also an actor/model.
Of course he is. Yeah.
We love a slashy.
Yeah, Hansel. So hot right now. Hansel. He got a last minute commercial where he was going to be required to take off his shirt. He was freaking out because he hadn't been working out as much and suggested we go on a hike instead. I'm not really into hiking, but I did want to see this one place that he suggested.
All of this tracks. Are they in Los Angeles?
This is the most LA date I've
ever heard.
Makes perfect sense. Yes.
Where it is a city full of slashies.
Yes. Yeah. And I totally believe this person too. Like, because most of the time I'm like, ugh, they're lying. I just assume they're lying. No, I'm like, this definitely happened. Yeah.
They're definitely
not that the writer is lying. I mean that the date will lie to get out of like, oh, I don't want to
pay for a meal.
I don't want to. Yeah.
But this is so LA. On the afternoon of the date, it's kind of chilly, but nothing a sweater wouldn't fix. Okay, that sounds like, to me, the person writing this is a transplant from the Midwest to LA and is like, yeah, sweater will do it. And this person's like, I've lived in LA for a really long time. No sweater is enough for 60 degrees. No. It's freezing.
Yes, I'm down to the bone cold. That's how I was yesterday. And it was, I saw the rest of the country is in a full on blizzard right now. And it's like, it was like 65 degrees outside yesterday. And I was like, oh my God.
I had a hoodie on all day. All day.
Yeah.
Change of plans because it's cold. But he still wants to get his workout in. So he suggests we go to walk around the mall. Yes. I am going to repeat that. He suggested we go walk around the mall like a couple of broke teenagers.
In 1985. Like, what are you doing?
Go in Spencer's Gifts?
Yeah. Like
walk around the mall. This is like I don't even think of teenagers. I think of like old people like who are like, I got to get my steps in.
Yeah.
Like
our mall had like markers. Where it was just like, if you walk this much, then you've hit a mile or whatever.
Man.
Yeah. Whatever. I literally do not know what to wear for a hiking date. I was going to wear a cute workout pants, show off my butt and tight top for the walk around the mall. That's too casual. But I also didn't want to dress up and wear heels because You're intent on walking and getting those steps in. I decided on a booby top, jeans, and platform sneakers. This is solid. I love it. Real solid plan. We meet up, and yes, he is as hot as his photo. This is also during COVID, so I'm wearing my mask when we first meet up, and he seems annoyed because he can't see my face. There are other people around, and I believe in the courtesy of wearing a mask. We finally start walking, and he meant walking. We didn't stop for like an hour. Conversation is fine, not great, but we have a few things in common. Although he seemed to get into teaching because the money was good enough and he wanted summers off. I'm a big believer that you should get into teaching because you really love working with students and want to make a difference. I really hate it when people go into it for summers off because, similar BS. But that's my opinion, and yes, slight judgment, but the best teachers are in it for the kids. In general, I get the impression that he's self-centered and wants to party and doesn't want to settle down. I mean, that makes sense.
Yes, again, tracks.
Summers off, for sure. That would be the only reason.
Summers for the boys.
Yeah, for sure.
After an hour or so, we finally stop and get some coffee. On the way to getting the coffee, he comments on my appearance. He said that I was hot, but I was kind of disappointed that I didn't dress up more for our date. What the fuck?
We're at the mall, sir.
You're the one who wanted to walk around the mall.
Get a soft pretzel and shut the fuck up. Like, seriously.
Wow.
Ew.
He said he wished I had done my makeup and hair. I was pausing for the cause because really Keegan
wish a motherfucker would. I really do. Like, oh, God.
You can't win. You cannot win.
Why would you say that? Like this, sometimes like really good looking people, they've just been allowed to slide like too many times that they don't realize how they come across and like what they're saying and like how it's offensive to people. Like
that is so offensive because maybe she was like wearing makeup. She's like, I did do my makeup.
I mentioned that I had, in fact, actually did my hair. I didn't know what he was expecting there. And I don't wear makeup unless it's a special occasion like a wedding, and certainly not for a date walking around the mall. He also said he wished I'd had dressed up more. I again mentioned that I was not sure what to wear for the date, that we were walking around a mall. I was not going to wear heels because I knew there was going to be a lot of walking, and I did try to wear a booby top.
Would you have said any, like, this is what I think when I hear this stuff, like, if you have those opinions where you're like, oh, you know, she's not your type, clearly, like she doesn't wear makeup unless it's a special occasion, like that's fine. Just get through the date. It's a first date. Yeah. You're meeting up to figure out if you like each other. You don't need to make a comment on it. Just say like, hey, I don't think we're compatible, and you don't go on another date. Like making a comment about it just feels very controlling because it's like saying like, I want you to change something about you if we're going to see each other
That's
again.
right.
And like, I don't
it's
like
either
that.
it or it's not it. And this is definitely not it. He responds with, I'm more of a butt guy, and I didn't even notice your boobs. I'm sorry. I guess I should have known that, right? And who cares if we were walking? Girls should dress up more and make a good first impression. It's not like he was wearing some hot outfit, mind you. Also, he said he wore his Gucci shoes that were not as comfortable as his other pair of shoes because he wanted to impress me. I was not impressed.
Yeah, I'm not impressed.
Didn't care.
At all.
After coffee, it's dinner time and I'm starving and I'm ready to ditch this douche and grab a yummy meal to go from the mall since I'm already there. He then suggested we go back to my place. Why? Literally, why did I agree to let him come over? Because I'm dumb. And I was impressed that this hot guy who was disappointed in me still wanted to hang out and spend more time with me.
Oh, honey.
I know.
Yeah.
Girl, we've all been there. Yes.
Collectively, we all need to work on our self-esteem as a nation.
Mm-hmm. We went back to my place. He suggested that I make us drinks. I did. We ended up hooking up. I know. I'm disappointed in me too, but we didn't have sex. He eventually leaves. At no point did I eat. It's like 9 and I'm starving. I make myself a disappointing lean cuisine and go to bed. I understand this life.
Oh, man.
You just took me back to like a random Wednesday from 2 years ago.
I got a one-off text the next day about how he had a great time. Hope you have a great weekend, whatever. I write him off and spend my many days disappointed that I let a man treat me like that. A couple of weeks later, he called me. I didn't mean to pick up, but I didn't have his number saved and I was waiting on a call from a delivery person. He gives me some sorry excuse about why he's been MIA. Don't care. He then says he's in my area and suggests that he should come over.
No.
I tell him I'm in quarantine. He sounded jealous and I went out good. He says he'll call me right back. Never does. Good riddance.
Exactly.
Goodbye.
Oh, yeah. I had that hot lawyer or whatever. That was just like, I mean, that guy was smoking hot.
Yeah.
And I was like, basically like the same kind of situation where I was just like, why did I?
Yeah. You know what,
like,
though?
Meh.
Everyone's been there for sure.
I think of that and then I think, yeah, but I've seen American Psycho and he was hot too.
Not trying to get chainsawed to death.
Exactly. This one is also from a listener. And she says, the subject line is my one and only blind date. So she says, hello, ladies. I started listening to your podcast when I was doing the online dating thing and was glad to see I wasn't the only one out there with some terrible stories.
Yes.
And boy, do I have some winners. But I'll start off with one from before I tried Bumble and Tinder, a good old-fashioned blind date. As an elementary teacher in my mid-20s, I was always the only single one at the school, and the older teachers seemed to always be on the lookout for guys for me.
Oh honey.
Oh, no.
I actually have like a fantasy of being a teacher and then like the single dad comes in, like
I see some role play in Eric's future.
there you go. Anytime we go out for drinks after work, they'd ask about my latest escapades as a single gal, and it would always end with, "We just need to find you a good guy. We're on this."
Like, just people with not enough to do. They're
Yeah. You're like, get a different hobby, please.
They're like, we've been married for 30 years.
Exactly. They're like, "Give it up, Mrs. Holloway." After a year of them talking about it, I finally gave in when one teacher's husband said I should go out with one of the guys he works with. He gave the guy my phone number to text to set things up. Let's call him Jacob. Jacob texts, and we get right down to planning when and where to have this blind date. He suggests a Cajun restaurant in town, which I love. So I figure if it sucks, at least I got a good meal out of it.
But I feel like spicy is not the direction to go on a first date.
Yeah, shrimp and grits
You're
belly.
you're really just
Jambalaya pants.
Jambalaya pants.
rolling those dice.
Woo. I tell him that I can meet him there at the designated time, but he asks if we can meet before somewhere since he isn't sure where this restaurant is. Okay, weird, but whatever. I ask where he'd like to meet, and he says,
Oh, no.
"Well, the only place I really know how to get to in St. Joe for sure is Menards."
Save big money at Menards.
Menards. I don't know why the name of that.
Because it sounds like Menards.
Yes.
Sounds definitely
Menards always makes me laugh. It's kind of like a Home Depot or Lowe's type of store. I think we bought my dad pants there one
What
time.
year is this taking place in? Like, this person couldn't MapQuest directions to the Cajun restaurant? Like,
Or just ask somebody. Anyways, that should have tipped me off that this was going to be a weird night, but I just went with it. The night comes, and I wait in the Menards parking lot at 6:30 p.m. for his truck to pull up. Mind you, this is a legit blind date. I have no idea what this guy looks like.
Oh, no.
Never saw a picture, no Facebook, and my friend's husband only gave a vague description. I hop in the truck with a complete stranger,
No.
and I navigate him to the restaurant.
Oh, no.
Seeing him by truck dome light, he's not my type at all.
Oh, no.
But I'm already here, so I might as well go
I'm not
with
built
it.
for blind dates.
No.
I am not built for blind
Someone
dates.
legit tells you, like, I will meet you in the Menards parking lot.
Is this a drug deal? No.
You said this is a drug deal at Menards.
Oh my God. I'm like crying. We walk in. He passes the host stand
Oh.
and beelines it for a large table near the back with
No.
people already sitting at it.
No. No.
Does
No.
He, does he know them? Just wanting to say hi?
No.
No. This is our table.
No.
The people at the table
No.
are his whole ass family.
No.
No.
This is not only a blind date, but a blind date with his sisters
Stop
and
it.
their husbands. Excuse me,
No.
what?
Stop it. Right.
Get me the fuck
Now.
out of here immediately.
You
What?
gotta call a yellow taxi or something. You gotta go.
I gotta go back to Menards. Forgot something. The dinner goes on, and my date's family talks to me more than he does. They end up inviting us to their house about 30 minutes away to drink and play cards in their garage. No
That
thanks.
actually sounds like fun, but no, I don't know you.
I definitely would not like to be 30 minutes away from home with the blind date.
This
that
is
it's
the
going
most
super awkwardly so far.
Midwest sounding.
Yes.
It really is.
You want to come back to our
You had me at Menards.
Yeah, you want to come back to the garage? We can play some cards. We got
some
some beers
euchre?
in the fridge.
Want to get some euchre? Get a little euchre game going?
Totally. Oh my God. My date says we'll talk about it and let them know. We leave, and Jacob asks if I'd like to go. I say no and suggest a local bar instead. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt and maybe thinking one-on-one he would be a little better. I was wrong. We find a booth, and I offer to get his beers here since he paid for dinner. I'm not drinking since I have to drive back home tonight. Now, I'm all for being a responsible drinker.
Love it.
But this made for a very painful 20 minutes of forced conversation as I sipped on my one Busch Light.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
I finally had enough at this point and tell him I should really be getting home. I walked up to the bar to pay my tab while Jacob goes out to pull up the truck. But I didn't pay my tab. I told the bartender, leave my tab open. I'll be back in 15 minutes. By the time I got back, a few of my guy friends were there, and the bartender had already told them that I ditched my date to come back and drink. Oh. LOL. It was a while before they let me live that one down.
Oh, no. That's not her fault. She didn't know what she was walking into.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Lord. Like, why do people think that that's acceptable? Like, that has happened so many times on this podcast where, like, you take your first date unwittingly to meet your entire family. Like, why?
It's so uncomfortable.
It's weird.
Yeah,
it's so
just
weird.
keep my tab open. I'm gonna run up some nods real quick and grab my car.
Exactly.
I'll be right back.
Well, okay, so I feel like everybody who's interested in true crime, there's like a handful of cases that like really got you good.
Mm-hmm.
Like
got
growing
you good,
up,
you fucker.
You know, yeah, like. And, you know, there's like all the big ones, but this is one of those for me. Like, I think I was in like middle school or high school when I learned about this case, and I learned about this case from a movie. And I was like, that is so fascinating that I spent like so much time on like early internet, like Googling and reading and looking at pictures and like that kind of thing, you know, because it was like, I think everybody has one that's kind of like that, you know?
Okay.
So this is one of those for me. And I got a lot of this information from Murderpedia, Wikipedia, and then there is a mental health professional, counselor, PhD person, psychologist on YouTube who makes a lot of videos, and his name is Dr. Todd Grande. And so he has a video on this case as well.
Nice.
And I feel like this is one that you probably know about, but if you don't, Christina, this is one you're going to like because it is a folie à deux case. Okay.
You love it.
So I'm going to be talking about the Parker Hulme case.
Ooh, this sounds familiar.
Yeah. You probably know it. Okay.
Okay.
So Pauline Parker was born on May 26, 1938 in Christchurch, New Zealand. And Juliet Hulme was born on October 28, 1938 in London, England. So the two girls met after Juliet's family relocated from England to New Zealand when she was 13 years old. And this case, I really feel like even though there's a movie about it, like, you know, starring a very young Kate Winslet and a very young Melanie Linsky, it's actually their first, both of them, it's their first feature film role.
I have not seen that.
You've never seen it?
No.
So the movie is called Heavenly Creatures. It's, I think, the first...
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah,
I
the
totally
first
know what you're talking about.
Peter Jackson directed. It might be his first
Something
or
like-
one of his firsts. Like early Peter Jackson film.
Yeah.
And it is bizarre. It is such a weird movie, but it is... I still like that movie. I've seen it like several times.
I would love to see the movie because I feel like I've seen some kind of video about this case, like a couple different kinds. Yeah. It's a really well-known case. And I think it would be ripe for like a really good. I did not know that this movie was about that. I've heard of the movie before, but I didn't know it was based on this case.
Once I explain some of the details of this case and you knowing it's a Peter Jackson film, you're going to understand why it's so weird. Like when you watch the movie, you're like, this movie is bizarre. So the girls met after Juliet's family relocated to New Zealand. She was 13. And the girls both attended Christchurch Girls High School together, and they initially bonded over the fact that they had both suffered debilitating illnesses as children. So Pauline had a condition called osteomyelitis, which was an infection of the bone that causes chronic leg pain. And because of this, she was often kind of like isolated at school, treated differently. She was excused from strenuous activity or physical exercise because of the leg pain. And likewise, Juliet had struggled with tuberculosis throughout childhood. So it was so severe that she had spent a good portion of her childhood separated from her parents in the Caribbean and in South Africa because her parents had hoped that a warmer climate would improve her health. So she was isolated from her parents. I don't know who
That's
she was
gotta be
staying
fucking
with.
Tough.
Yeah,
Dude.
right? Like growing up like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know who she was staying with in the Caribbean, but I guess she has family in South Africa, so she was staying with them. But still, like,
yeah,
you know. So this shared experience of having grown up like really frail and sick bonded the two girls, and according to Pauline, the two romanticized the idea of ill. Ill. It was this kind of like, frail and ill. Yeah.
The vapors.
And they felt that it set them apart and it made them special. And also, I think because of the fact that they were not able to do a lot of the like physical things that a lot of their other classmates had done, they had really deep, imaginative, creative inner lives. So, and they bonded over that as well. So both girls were not particularly popular, in part because of their illnesses, and they didn't have very many friends. So initially, when they began their friendship, their families were happy about it. They were like, oh, it's amazing that you guys have friends. But quickly, the people around them started to get the sense that something wasn't right about their relationship. So the two became obsessed with each other. They were almost exclusively spending time together, excluding and neglecting all other relationships. So it was very intense and very unhealthy kind of right away.
Obsessive.
Yeah. So they created an elaborate fantasy world and formed a fantasy life together. They wrote and acted out plays and books centered around this world. They also invented their own personal religion with their own shared views of morality. They rejected Christianity and worshipped their own saints in a parallel dimension that they called the fourth world.
Well,
right?
I already have questions.
Right?
But can I get a map?
So this is they probably had maps. Like it was very like detailed, this world that they had created. And when you watch the Peter Jackson movie, because it's Peter Jackson, he recreates this world and has them actually physically spending time in it.
Do I want this redone by
Guillermo del Toro?
Oh,
yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Would be amazing.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Definitely feels like that kind of vibe.
Yes.
I'm excited to check that out though.
Yeah, and they're so young.
It's so sad because something like that deep imagination and the stuff that they're creating, it's sad the way that this turns, or the fact that it was an obsession and a darkness, because it could actually lead to like this like amazing creative partnership. Like they could have been writers or something.
It is the same kind of thing that like made Tolkien so incredible. It was like his ability to like in depth create these worlds with like full languages and like cultures and like that's incredible. Like, and if it had just stayed kind of right there, but it didn't stay there. I mean, already right from the beginning, it wasn't just like writing stories and like play acting and like developing these worlds. It was a religion for them, like right off the bat, which is kind of like, ugh,
Yeah, it feels extra.
They went full Yellow Jackets.
Yes, exactly. They went full Yellow Jackets. And actually, Melanie Linsky and watching Yellow Jackets is part of what made me want to do this story.
Oh, brilliant.
Because I was just like, gosh, she's so great. And I remembered seeing her, and they're both just like so young in this movie,
Is she American?
No, I think she's from New Zealand.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But I think because she started acting so young, so she has a New Zealand accent in this film.
Brilliant.
But like, whenever she grew up, she spent so much time in the States, I think she's kind of like lost it. So they believed that only 10 people on the planet were given access to a key that would enable them to enter the fourth world, and that they could only enter into it during moments of spiritual enlightenment, which the two had achieved because of their relationship, and that they could only enter the fourth world when they were together. So already they're setting it up where like this relationship is not just like an important friendship. This relationship is so important. Like the fourth world is essentially heaven to them. Like they think that that's where they're going to go when they die, is to the fourth world. So like if they're only one of 10 people on the planet and they're only able to enter into this world together, it magnifies the importance of this relationship, right? Like,
Yeah.
So the two also had alternate personalities that they became when they entered the fourth world. Pauline's character was Gina and Juliet's was Deborah. Juliet's mother said that Juliet would fall so deeply into this character that it would oftentimes be difficult to make contact with and communicate with Juliet. Like she would only communicate as Deborah.
Wow.
Right? The two girls also made plans together for the future, believing that they would move to the United States and become film actresses. Of course.
Yeah. I mean, if they had just stayed in the creative side
I mean,
of this.
I
If this
had that
just...
dream when I was 13 too.
And
though.
didn't we all? Yeah. So at this point, both sets of parents were growing concerned over the closeness of the girls, and both expressed concerns that the two were engaged in a homosexual relationship. And homosexuality at the time in many places, but also in New Zealand, was considered a mental illness. And because of this, Juliet's parents took her to see a mental health professional to have her examined. The doctor determined that it was very likely that the two girls were engaged in a romantic, physical, homosexual relationship, but that the parents shouldn't be concerned, that it was just a phase that Juliet would grow out of with time. They were like, just leave it alone. Which, I mean, we know that very problematic thing to say, but not the worst thing he could have said.
Right,
So,
actually.
you know,
right.
Despite their concerns, the parents agreed to allow the two girls to continue to see each other, with Pauline spending sleepovers and vacations at the Hulmes. But more and more, Juliet would become sullen, withdrawn, and even ill when Pauline had to leave her to go home. So, like, her parents were like, this is weird, right? This is weird. She's fine when Pauline is here, but the second Pauline, like, leaves to go home, like, she can't deal. Like, she's, like, bedridden.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the parents were becoming increasingly worried, and in 1953... they decided not to invite Pauline to vacation with them over the summer holidays as she had in the past, which was massively distressing to both the girls to have to spend the summer apart from each other. In 1954, the girls discovered that Juliet's mother was having an affair. The affair, combined with the fact that Juliet's father was forced to resign from his position as rector of the University of Canterbury, where he worked, led to the couple separating. Juliet's parents separated. And they made the decision then that the family would return to England, all except Juliet, who would go back to live with family members in South Africa because of her poor health. So her parents were going to go back to England, and they were going to send Juliet off to South Africa.
I feel like family dynamic is
Weird.
a little.
It's weird. Yeah. It's definitely strange. And it has to play into Juliet's, like, mental health, like her lack of stability, like being, you know, you're with your parents, you're not with your parents.
Also,
like,
I feel like it would be a great way to feel unloved.
Yes.
And unwanted.
And feeling
Right.
like you have to latch on to something because
Right.
you're going to lose it.
Yeah. Yeah. So though both sets of parents were So as you can imagine, this news did not go over well with the girls. The idea that they would be separated from each other was devastating. And so the solution that they came up with was that Pauline should go with Juliet to South Africa. Now, ridiculous, like to an adult mind, you're like, absolutely ridiculous. But at 16, I could see rationalizing this to myself, like being like, well, this way Juliet doesn't have to go alone. Like, she'll have someone to go with her,
Right.
you know, and just kind of holding on to that shred of like, maybe this is something that could happen. Though both sets of parents were obviously against this, the two became fixated on Pauline's mother, who had been the most vocal about her growing unease about the girls' relationship. And they believed if they could get her out of the way, that the two could be together. They were like, we can convince your parents, but like
your parents
my mom
don't care.
Right. My mom's the problem here, right? So they became really fixated on this idea. So in April of 1954, the two decided that they would have to kill Pauline's mother and began planning how they would do it. So they decided after the murder was complete, they would travel to New York City or Los Angeles, where they would sell their plays and the books they'd written about the fourth world and, naturally, become very rich and famous.
Of course. I mean, that's how it works.
Right. Yeah.
All you have to do is just do
come
it.
here.
Yeah.
You just show up.
You just show up and immediately, like,
You're a
the
star.
First person that you give the thing to gets accepted.
Yes. And they're going to be adapted into movies. Yep. That was the plan. So after 2 months of planning, on June 22nd, 1954, Pauline's mother, Honora, was walking with the girls through Victoria Park in Christchurch. And once the girls got to a secluded part of the park, Pauline pulled out half a brick enclosed in an old stocking, and the two girls beat Honora to death. So after the murder, the two ran covered in blood because they had thought that it would only take one hit, which it did not. So they were covered in blood. They ran back to a tea kiosk that was at the top of the hill that they had just been at. The three of them had just eaten at only minutes before, and told the owners that Honora had fallen and hit her head. Right?
That's a lot of blood on you for that.
Yeah. So the police were called, and when they arrived, they were immediately like, pretty sure she didn't fall. This doesn't look like a fall.
It's a lot of falling.
Because she had 45 external injuries, 24 of which were to her face and scalp, with minor injuries to her fingers and hands.
Oh.
They also discovered the murder weapon nearby in the woods. So already it's open and closed,
yeet. No one will find this.
Right? Just, yeah, exactly.
Somebody's on the other side of the park. Ow!
Jesus. As if that weren't enough, they also found Pauline's diary.
Okay.
In which she had written extensively and in great detail about the upcoming murder. One passage reads, quote, "It's a definite plan we intend to carry out. We have worked it out carefully and are thrilled by the idea. In the days before the murder, she wrote, naturally, we feel a trifle nervous, but the pleasure of anticipation is great."
Well,
that doesn't.
That's not good.
I don't like that.
It's not good. 16-year-old Pauline was arrested the night of the murder, and 15-year-old Juliet was arrested the next day.
Okay. Time out.
Yeah.
15 and 16.
Yeah.
In my minds, they were a little bit older.
No.
I don't know why. I don't know. You probably said it. And in my mind, I made them older because this is absurd.
Yeah.
You think 15, 16, you're just going to come over to the U.S.
Yeah.
Just
listen. It's not rational. They had a very strong fantasy life.
Clearly.
Yeah.
One not, too concerned with things of the logic nature, like money.
Yeah.
Living
food, eating.
The way they planned the murder out was very ill planned. I just don't think that they were good at thinking things through at all.
Or thinking.
One
of the games they did not play was Consequences.
No, they did not.
They just thought that everything was going to work out for them. I mean, they had been described as fairly narcissistic and self-centered and centered mostly on each other. So I don't think they gave very much thought to other people. And they did think that they were very, very smart. They were described as thinking that they were geniuses, so I think that they just thought they were smarter than everybody else. And it's just no. So both girls confessed pretty quickly, and later Pauline would say that the night before the murder was to take place felt like the night before Christmas, that it was a happy event, and she felt like she was planning a surprise party. Of course, the news of two young schoolgirls planning and carrying out a murder became a sensational story throughout New Zealand, with many of the people speculating about the girls' sexuality and insanity, or lack thereof. Because of their age, they were considered too young for the death penalty, but were convicted of murder on August 28th, 1954. Each girl only spent about 5 years in prison.
That doesn't feel enough.
Yes.
That sure doesn't feel like enough.
No.
No. I need that. I'm going to
turn that up a little bit. With Juliet being released 2 weeks before Pauline.
They're 20 years old. 20 and 21.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Your life just began.
Oh, listen. Hold on. Upon their release,
I don't know if I can.
In 1959, each girl was given a new identity. Pauline was given the name Hilary Nathan and was placed on 6 months parole in New Zealand, where she stayed until 1965, when she relocated to England and lived a quiet, reclusive life. Juliet was given the name Anne Perry and left New Zealand immediately to join her father, who was living in Italy at the time. In 1996, Pauline released a statement through her sister expressing remorse for having killed her mother, and said that she didn't realize the gravity of what she'd done until some years after the event. Juliet, going by Anne Perry, has made a very successful career for herself, writing murder, mystery, and detective novels, and has sold over 20 million books.
What?
Prolific writer. And apparently her books are really good, but whoa. Whoa.
It took a turn that I didn't expect.
Not good. It's not good.
I don't.
Wow.
In statements since her release, Juliet, now going by Anne, has said that she only participated in the murder because she was afraid that if she didn't, Pauline would kill herself.
That's not it.
Right?
I don't believe that.
Doesn't feel...
I don't like that. I don't believe it.
As far as I know, the two have never had contact again after prison, and neither has committed any violent crimes. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit more, having watched that YouTube video talking about folie à deux. About folie à deux. So this case has come to be seen as a textbook example of folie à deux, also called shared psychotic disorder. The defense in this case even tried to make the case that the two were delusional and suffering from this disorder. We've talked about folie à deux several times on the show, so I wanted to get into the weeds just a little bit to discuss it a little further. So neither Pauline nor Juliet has had an official mental health diagnosis that I could find. However, many mental health professionals, both during their trial and afterwards, would go on to say that the girls suffered from paranoia, narcissism, and attachment anxiety when it came to the other. They also exhibited coldness, lack of empathy, lack of remorse, sense of entitlement, and detachment from reality. So folie à deux isn't actually a disorder in the DSM at this time. It was at one point, and you could actually be diagnosed with it. You can't be diagnosed with it now. It's not part of the DSM. But rather, it's an explanation as to how delusions sometimes manifest within relationships.
Sure.
This gets a little, complicated, but though it can involve many people, it usually manifests between just two. One is considered the primary partner or inducer or dominant, and the other is considered the secondary or submissive partner. The majority of the time, the primary partner will have a dissociative disorder, schizophrenia, or a major mood disorder, such as depressive disorder or bipolar disorder on a major scale, paired with psychosis. The primary partner is not diagnosed with folie à deux in these instances. It's the secondary partner that is deemed to be suffering from the delusion.
Got it.
Because the primary partner has psychosis.
Right.
Sure.
So the most common delusion when it comes to folie à deux is called imposed psychosis, which is when one person, the primary, is psychotic and they transmit the delusion to the other person who did not have any mental disorders beforehand. In this form of delusion, when the two are separated, the secondary partner no longer suffers from delusions. So they imposed their psychosis on someone else.
Interesting.
Another way it can manifest is called communicated psychosis. And this is similar to imposed psychosis, but in this case, the secondary partner adds two delusions on top of those that were transmitted by the primary.
Got it.
And so when the two are separated, the secondary partner still suffers from delusions.
Huh.
Unlike some other psychological concepts, something that makes folie à deux so interesting is the extremely high rate of violent criminality that is associated with it. It is often associated with murders or attempted murders, kidnappings, and assault. And when it comes to folie à deux homicides, there are generally three main motives. So there's defensive, preventing obstruction of the delusion, and that the partners are threatened with separation.
So this feels very on note to the description for sure.
For this case, yeah. So many people argue that the Parker Hulme case is an example of imposed psychosis, in which Pauline was the psychotic one, and she passed along her delusions to Juliet. A lot of people think that that's what it was, that Pauline had some kind of schizophrenia, and it passed them along because Pauline didn't have any immediate remorse, whereas Juliet did show remorse. But Juliet's actions also feel not...
No, none of it's good. Y'all, it was,
Yeah. So there are two other types of folie à deux that I didn't mention here because there doesn't seem to be a lot of agreement as to whether or not it actually qualifies, because there's some level of psychosis on both parties. And I do think that that could have been what we were dealing with here.
Sure.
But I don't know. Pauline and Juliet were suffering from what is called mystical delusions. They believed that they were special and more powerful when together, which amplified their shared specialness. And when you feel like that, you can justify
just about anything.
Just about anything. Mm-hmm. So, as Dr. Todd says in his video, quote, mystical delusions make people believe that there are no limits to what they deserve, and dealing with people in this situation can be very dangerous.
I feel like I've met a few people like that. Usually it's narcissism.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I imagine it's probably all coupled up together.
Sure.
But anyway, I wanted to do that story because it was one that I was obsessed with when I first learned about it.
I think the thing that I saw on it was probably one of those like terrible ID shows.
Yeah, with the reenactments. Yeah.
Because all I knew about the case was that they were like tight, like folie deux.
Yeah.
It didn't have any of the details in it, and that they killed the mother.
Yeah.
And so, it's really wild to learn the rest of the details.
Yeah, and we've talked about folie deux so many times on this show, I think because it's such a fascinating concept when talking about like relationships. Sure. And like in Tainted Love stories, that I wanted to talk a little bit more about what that actually means.
Yeah,
like what is it actually? And it's still not understood very well. And so when it comes to also like imposing sentencing on people who are suffering from it, because it's so rare, people don't really know what to do with it. Like,
and
it's
I
just
feel like the Slender Man.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah. I know he talks about that one as well on his channel, and he says it is also a case of
shared
folie.
delusion.
Yeah. Kind of a shared delusion situation.
But there's a lot that are maybe considered like folie deux or what have you, ones that we won't do here on the podcast because they're just too
horrible.
Awful, like Ken and Barbie. Or
Myra Hindley and Ian Brady.
Yeah, those kind of things. Where
wait, is that the British guy? The British guy. Oh,
the Moors murders. Yeah,
woof.
Yeah, we don't need to do them. That's not what our thing is. But it's good to get that explanation out there as to what it is.
It is interesting too to see that. I mean, like they didn't go on to do anything.
No.
Further, so
no, I mean, and we've talked about that before, where it's just like if these two had not
never
met, would they have ever done anything, or maybe not? Like it's difficult to say. It's impossible to say.
Yeah,
right.
There still is at the end of the day a woman whose life was lost
for no reason, for no
reason,
just because you two were both like so deluded and attached to your fantasy world, and that fantasy world was so intrinsically tied to the other person. Like
what are you guys watching this week?
I finished Yellow Jackets.
I have one more episode. I think we're gonna watch it tonight. I'm excited.
Melanie Linsky, just mwah.
I love her.
She's so cute.
I can't wait.
Good show. I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah.
They're gonna force me to keep paying for Showtime because I watched the end of it and I was like, God damn it!
Oh no, it's like that shit.
I know. I hate that there's like a must-watch show on each of these
platforms.
Platforms
pay for.
It's so annoying. And I think we should start doing. I'm serious. Like when I'm like, we should all be sharing is caring. Situation. We should really consider that. But
did you guys hear Love is Blind season 2 is coming up soon?
No,
I'm definitely going to watch it. Am I going to watch it? Yeah. And am I going to watch it?
Another Jessica in my life.
They're going to cast a Jessica. Jessica might host it. Like
they listened to our notes too.
Yeah,
I see a much more diverse cast.
Yes.
And it's not all like there's a range of ages. Okay. There's a range of body types.
Okay.
And I'm like,
I'm into it. Okay.
So I'm like, thank you for taking my notes.
Thank you.
I appreciate.
Thank you.
That's all I'm saying.
Perfect. Chris and I just binged because here's the truth. I cannot get through my homework this week. I have like the most dry reading right now. Like I am literally in this world of like, I just have like a chapter of the driest shit that I just have to get through for this. And I'm just like, yesterday I fell asleep reading it and I was like, I'm done with this for a while. We literally binge watched all of Reacher and it is so fucking good.
Reacher?
Yes.
Oh,
the brand new show. It's on Prime. It is so good. It is so good. But we know I love action. It's what I play for.
It's action packed.
It is mystery, and you're like, like it's serial. So you're like going through this whole like who killed this person and this person. It's just like it's good.
Nice,
it's really good.
Well, I watched all of Murderville.
Yeah,
and gotta tell you, I am so sad. There's only 6 of them. I'm like, why didn't you make more? Because these are highly entertaining. So it's improv with Will Arnett,
which you love.
I love it when it's good.
Good improv. Yeah, let's clarify. Asterisk that.
So they're the people coming in have no idea they have to solve the murder. So they're putting together, and you're watching too as clues. They always have 3 suspects that they go to. There's been a murder at the beginning. They interview 3 suspects, and then they've got to solve the crime at the end.
That just sounds like fun.
Amazing.
And I'm like,
I want to do that instead of an escape room. That's what I'd rather do. That sounds amazing.
And Will Arnett is just, he is hilarious.
He's so funny.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It's cute.
Okay, amen. Are you guys going to watch Tommy Lee and Pamela?
I don't know.
I know.
Eric was talking about wanting to watch it, and I was like,
they look amazing, but other than that, I'm not like highly interested.
Am I only interested to see Jonah Hill?
Oh, you mean Seth Rogen?
Yes.
I know exactly what you meant, and yes is the answer. Yeah,
it's just a sad story that she got like exploited, and I'm like, I don't know how she feels about the show.
She's not
happy about it. Well, I mean, I'm upset she's not happy about it, because I was thinking like it's about time that someone told it from her perspective, because like that was a time when we were all just animals in terms of like when stuff happened to celebrities, we just didn't care, and like especially with women, we were kind of just,
well, it's their fault.
Yeah, there was this real like, well, you did this
very
to yourself,
slut shaming,
mentality, and so I like that. Like at least she should have gotten sympathy for that. That was fucked up,
right? Yeah. So if she's not happy with the way that
then I don't like
show that. Then I don't know if I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
me. Well,
on the fence.
If you guys have stuff that we should watch and or read, because we're big readers now, we're doing the thing. We're doing books.
We're doing it. We're doing books.
Ooh, yeah. And if you want to drop us a review, we would super love that.
Yes. Especially if you have stories. We love the fact that we got a bunch of stories this week. Keep them coming.
Yes.
Go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com. And we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.